Okay, we continue in the Orchos Yosher in the Midah over here of YIRAS CHEIT, of having fear of sin. And he's describing that you could have a lot of Torah, could have a lot of mitzvahs, you could have a lot of wonderful deeds under your belt to be able to show for yourself. But if a person is lacking this basic ingredient of YIRAS CHEIT, the fear of sin, then really, as he says, Ein b'yado klum, they really have nothing. And he continues and he writes, Ein HaKadosh Baruch Hu mevakesh. It says, Ein HaKadosh Baruch Hu mevakesh lo yoifi v'lo. Sorry, over here. Mishu Asher, somebody who is a wealthy man. Rotzalei b'mitzvah, somebody is wealthy in mitzvahs, which is it's a good thing to be wealthy, and it doesn't matter what goes on in the stock market. The value of mitzvahs doesn't go down; it only goes up, especially in our generation. A yid that keeps mitzvahs in this generation, with everything that we're going through, it's always going on the up and up. So a person is an usher, they're a wealthy man in mitzvahs. V'chacham ben da'as, he's a wise person, he's a ben da'as, he has his mind and his wits about him. Ein b'yada v'yiras cheit, however, he doesn't have yiras cheit, the fear of sin, within him. Ein b'yada klum, like we said, he has nothing. We need the yiras cheit, we need the fear of sin, to be able to hold on to all of the wonderful things that we have, that we should use them in the right way. And the Midrash writes, Im ein b'yadcha yiras cheit, same idea, like you said over here, ein b'yadcha klum. And then it writes, Ein HaKadosh Baruch Hu mevakesh lo yoifi v'lo ashiras. HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't ask that you should be beautiful. He doesn't ask that you should be rich. Ela yiras cheit. All he wants is that you should have fear of sin. V'akavana yoifi v'ashiras. What does it mean, beautiful and rich? Obviously, HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't care if you're beautiful, if you comb your hair a few extra times. He doesn't care how much money is in your pocket. That's not what is in the measure in the eyes of Hashem. Yoifi, beauty is Torah. Doesn't matter how much yoifi, the beauty of Torah you have. Mitzvahs, it doesn't matter how much ashir is, how rich you are in the world of mitzvahs, because without the medium, without the midah of yiras cheit, this fear of sin, as we said, we're just going to trample over what we have. V'omru, and it says, Hadar Bachrim, the glory, the splendor of Bachrim, of yeshiva boys, of anybody, young man, is yiras cheit. What makes the person shine? You can see it on little children, the purity of a child. The reason that they are so beautiful is their purity, but there's an element, a natural element of the yiras cheit, of that fear that they have to do the wrong thing. They don't want to. There's a purity. As we get older, and as we get much more involved in the Welt, in the world, and we get more involved in our lives and the things that we're doing, we become very busy, there's a lot of pressure on a person. Suddenly that purity, that face that we once had when we were younger, the face that we have hopefully after a Ne'ilah, which inspires us, the face that we have after a spiritual moment by the Kaisel or something like that, that face, the light begins to dwindle. Why does it begin to dwindle from a person? The reason is because we start losing the yiras cheit, we start losing the fear of sin. A person who loses the fear of sin, even though he knows what the Torah says, he'll do something against the Torah. Even though he knows what the value of the mitzvahs, he'll do something against the value of the mitzvahs. Even though he knows what HaKadosh Baruch Hu really wants him to do, which is a nachas to Hashem, he will do something that is really against what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants, because he's missing that element, that aspect of the fear of sin. Uba'avais the Rebbe Nosson, it says, Chacham v'yirei cheit. Someone who is wise, and he also has the milah, the advantage of the fear of sin. Harez the uman, he's a professional, uklium nasei biyadai, he's a craftsman, and he has his tools in his hand. As we mentioned an idea like this before. The wisdom is one thing, but you have to have the tools to be able to hold on to it, to be able to make sure that you're working your wisdom and you're working your mitzvahs in the right way. The tools of a chacham, the tools of a Jew, is yiras cheit. Chacham ve'ein yiras cheit, somebody who is wise, meaning wise in Torah knowledge, but he lacks yiras cheit, he doesn't have the fear of sin. Uman, he's a craftsman because he's wise, he has all the wisdom. However, ve'ein kliya nasei biyado, but he can't do work without his tools. Like we said last week, the plumber who shows up to fix the pipes, but he forgot his wrench. So he's worthless as a plumber. The carpenter who comes to work to build a house and he doesn't bring his hammer and his nails, he's worthless as the carpenter. A dentist is supposed to pull a tooth, and he shows up into work that day, and he has none of his tools to pull teeth. So he's not a dentist that day. The brain surgeon who doesn't know all the details of all the wires in the brain, and he doesn't have the right tools, he's not a brain surgeon. A Talmid Chacham, a wise person in Torah, who's lacking the tools, which is YIRAS CHEIT, so then how is he going to be able to use all that wisdom that he has? And then he writes, though, a little bit of a saving grace for all of us that are not the Talmidei Chachamim. And he says the following. He says, Yirei Cheit ve'ein Chacham. However, what if you have YIRAS CHEIT? You're a person who has great fear of sin. But you're lacking the wisdom. You don't know all what the Torah wants. You know, it's like a person sometimes goes to a shir, and the Rav is saying something very inspiring, and it's frightening. You realize, just shut the door, and then you realize that if I don't do what he's saying, I'm in big trouble. Like sometimes, the Rav Chaim videos are very frightening about of Lashon Hara. So you get into your mind, Lashon Hara is a terrible, terrible thing. I don't know why it took 50 years to make us realize that, but Lashon Hara is a terrible, terrible thing. And so then we decide, I'll never speak Lashon Hara. You walk out of there, you start thinking to yourself all of your life, all the times of Lashon Hara, how you ruin people's lives, how you ruined your own life, all the different things. And then you say, I'll never speak Lashon Hara. You're frightened to say the words of Lashon Hara. But you don't know the halachas of Lashon Hara. So you can be as afraid as you want to be, not to say over a word of gossip, a word of evil speech. But if you don't have the chachma, you don't have the wisdom behind you, for sure you're going to trample on the laws of Lashon Hara. So you have a person, he's Yirei Cheit, he fears, he doesn't want to do the wrong thing. However, ve'ein chacham, what can we do? He's not a chacham, he doesn't have all the wisdom. Ein ze uman, okay, he's not considered to be a craftsman because he doesn't know how to do the job. Aval kliyum nasa biyado, but at least he's holding the tools in his hand. So he won't fix your pipes, this plumber. But at least he has the tools, and if you'll teach him how to do it, he'll figure out how to do it. He might not know how to build the building, but he's got the hammer, he's got the nails, he has the drill, he has the saw. Let him learn, and he'll be able to do it. So too, if you have the foundation already, which is the YIRAS CHEIT, the fear of sin, even if you don't have all the wisdom yet, but you can get there. And once you get there, combined together with the YIRAS CHEIT, with the fear of sin that a person has, then they will be Zoichem Yetz Hashem, not only to be someone that is has the tools of the craftsman, but they become the Ummah, they become the craftsmen themselves, because they'll be able to work the Torah, the mitzvahs, the chachma, the wisdom of the Torah that they have, they'll be able to work it in the right way, to perform in such a way that HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, that's the kind of person I want. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants a person who, number one, knows what he's doing, understands what he's doing, and is careful about his actions and his deeds. And Yetz Hashem will continue to increase our chachma, and will continue to increase our yiras shamayim, and in that zechus, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will see our true desires on a Rosh Hashanah and a Yom Kippur, and he'll say, that's exactly what this world is all about, to be a person who knows, understands, and does his best to live accordingly.